How are you? Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Sorry.
You were the last surviving woman in the final movie that Robert was Freddy in.
I was. Quite
and
an
he also
honor.
talked about the fact that you were in the water without a wetsuit.
That's
and
right.
were freezing.
Yes, I was.
Oh,
That was.
Lord.
We were in Vancouver in the fall.
Oh, man.
And I was wearing a very skimpy outfit, and it got smaller and smaller.
I can't imagine why.
Yes, exactly. So by the time the finale happened, I was wearing next to nothing, and yes, you couldn't hide a wetsuit under it. But honestly, to Jason Ritter's credit, he's so sweet. He said that if I was going to be freezing, he would be too. So he didn't wear one either.
Oh, that's so nice.
So, yeah.
Do you find gallantry like that on the set that often?
Not very often.
See?
In fact, I don't remember ever before or since. So, yeah.
Well, that's good. Now, in that movie,
He's a special
you
one.
actually decapitated Freddy, did you not?
I sure did, with Jason's machete.
You see that? Not many women can claim to that.
Nightmare on Elm Street was one of the first movies I ever had seen, and definitely the first horror movie. And I think the last until Freddy versus Jason.
I had heard it really upset you, and you couldn't sleep
I
for
couldn't
like a
sleep.
while
No,
after that?
I just got so thin, and I had like circles under my eyes, and I just said, like, there's this guy, this man, and he's gonna kill me, he's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me if I fall asleep. And they were like, is it your father? And I said, no. And they said, well, is it your grandfather, one of your uncles? And I said, no, what? No, they're all firemen and cops. What are you talking about? And I said, his name's Freddy Krueger. And anyway, they had to take me to the special pediatrician, and it was a whole thing. So anyway, long story short, I just remember my mom got me this newspaper article finally about 2 years into it of Robert in his makeup and out of his makeup, and a whole thing about Robert Englund and Freddy Krueger. And I just remember taping it to my bedside table, and for about almost 10 years when I went to sleep just saying, like, it's not real, he's just a character.
And then
it's
you
just
go and make a movie with him.
Well, I know, but I remember saying, when I grow up, I'm going to be an actress. I'm never going to make movies that scare little kids. And the first one to come on my table, that I came across was Freddy versus Jason. And I just thought, oh my gosh, what would my little self think? And then I read the last couple of pages where I decapitate him, and I was like, yes.
Yeah. A woman standing up for herself.
That's right. It was very cathartic.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And Robert Russler, how are you? Nice to see you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you for coming in here.
Wait. First of all, I have to apologize. I was sort of a last-minute appearance tonight because Sean Clark never tells me anything. Some reason he's got something against Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. And we know it was supposed to be the girls of Elm Street, and I figured if Mark Patton's not going to be here, I would represent.
How did Freddy kill you in that movie?
I don't remember. I was so stoned the whole time that I don't remember a thing about the whole shoot. I mean, I was just nothing but a menace. Robert Englund was great to work with, but, he was so friendly and so warm and hospitable in the morning, and we would talk, and Robert loves to talk, by the way. After about an hour or two into makeup, I would continue the conversation and say, Bob, I'm gonna go get a coffee. Would you like a coffee?
I think everybody remembers you with Robert Downey in Weird Science. What was it like to work with the future Iron Man?
Well, I was so drunk, I don't remember.
Did your dad work at Universal Studios?
He sure did, yeah. My dad was a Teamster at Universal Studios for many years, so I grew up on that lot.
Oh, wow.
Cheer for the Teamsters, damn it. Thank you.
You better, or they'll turn out the lights.
Yeah, so my first movie was at Universal Studios, and the real funny story about that is I knew almost everyone on that lot, from Scotty the Guard to Silent Gus to the head. I mean, they called Silent Gus because he wouldn't stop talking, much like Mr. Englund. And on my first film, John Hughes and Joel Silver Taft-Hartley'd me, and it was a big deal my first day on the set. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I drove up, they were standing there like proud parents, and one of the drivers comes up to me and goes, "Rustler, you what are you doing here? And then I got a Dutch rub, and it was really funny because I was never so embarrassed. And my dad runs up and he goes, son, I'm on the movie. And they were like, how do you know everybody? And I said, well, son of a Teamster.
I appreciate you all coming out here. Amanda Wiss, Jennifer Rubin, Ronnie Blakely, Monica Keena, and Robert Rustler. Thank you so much. Let's hear it for them. Well, that's probably the biggest guest lineup we've ever had on this show, and it's great that they helped raise funds for the Midway Drive-In's digital conversion.
How lovely for you.
Well, it's for them. Now let's... All right, everybody! Listen, thank you so much for tuning in this weekend. Listen, thank you to all the great guests we had on our Friday Night Frights talk show. We're really pleased that we got to work with them, and we're pleased that we got to bring it to you here. And if you'd like to see the full interviews, we'll be posting them soon on the website at Svengoolie.com, so make sure you check that out. And, of course, check out the show next week. We may not have as many big-name guests, but we'll probably have just as many chickens. I'll see you.
Thank you, Chicago, for helping make us America's #1 all-classic TV network.
At Flashback Weekend, there are always lots of people in makeup. So, we decided to talk to some people who know a lot about makeup. This is Joe, and your son was the winner on the Face Off show.
Season 4. He was Anthony Kozar.
Yeah, and he's working in the business now?
He's working in the business, doing projects. And actually, this is one of the projects that he just did for horror photographer Joshua Hoffine. It was the teenage monsters at prom.
That is so cool. And I understand you guys actually watched my show.
We watch your show. Big fans.
Oh, that's tremendous. Do you think my makeup was any influence on him?
I think it must have been, really.
Yeah, what not to do, probably. Well, great. Please give him our best and tell him that we're proud of him.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. That's so cool. I wish I looked like this.
Yes, indeed.
We have here Becky and House. You're not the Dr. House, right?
I am a mad doctor, so.
Okay. And they also were on that face-off makeup competition. Tell us a little bit about what you did on there.
Well, I was on season 4, and man, I mean, every week you got a new monster to make in like 3 days, so I made it close to the end, but didn't win the big prize, so still working on that one, you know, but been in the business since my whole life, you know, making monsters and movies and such, so.
And what got you interested in doing makeup?
The Universal Monster movies. Okay, Jack Pierce, Lon Chaney. I started with the black and whites, you know. I mean, I grew up in the 70s and watching the movies. I mean, that's what I recommend. I always recommend it to the young kids. Like, forget about the new stuff. Start with the beginning, you know, and you have a greater appreciation of the whole art form and genre.
And Becky, were you always into makeup?
Yeah, I've always been into makeup, costuming, theatrical stuff. You know, art primarily is my choice of.
Do you design the makeup stuff?
Yeah, I do all kinds of work, conceptual design work, and designing, but also, you know, fabrication of it, and sculpting, painting, etc.
Wow, you guys do a great job, and congratulations. Just making it on that show is pretty impressive.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, and what do you think of my makeup?
Hey, it works. It's classic theatrical makeup, you know?
Everybody should know how to do it.
Highlights and shadows, man.
I use a roller, so it's much quicker that way. This is Robert Kurtzman, who did the Freddy makeup on Robert Englund when we did the talk show, and we were very impressed by that, Robert.
Thank you. Thanks. I had a really good time with Robert. As usual, though, I always have a good time working with him. So.
And he said that was the streamlined version of the makeup. Could you explain that to us?
Yeah, I just broke it down a little differently to save some application time. Instead of doing a separate forehead and separate cheeks, I combined those.
Okay.
And it still worked because I could still feather out the makeup from the center and move out to the edge, you know, so it was good. He was just happy with it because it was quicker, you know, and not so restrictive, so.
Now, do you do anything to make it more comfortable for him? I know it's hard to do that.
No, it's my job to torture him, so it's no, I don't. So.
And how many pieces was his makeup?
I think it was 6.
6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. 6 with the ears, yeah.
And I remember you saying that, you know, you were worried about the stuff around his lips coming loose, but looking at him close
I
up.
had one. I caught a couple photos where I had to go touch that up because once he starts doing this a lot, he always have issues around the mouth. But yeah.
Well, it's amazing because it all goes together so perfectly, and you do a great job. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks.